guys, thank you for joining us again with another art lesson from the Bakersfield Museum of Art. My name is Curtis, and today we're going to be covering one of the cornerstones of art, and that is the one-point perspective. We're going to go through the process of how to do one-point perspective drawing, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Now, before we get started, I want to talk to you a little bit about an artist named Ivan Durrell. Now, you've actually probably seen his work before, and the Bakersfield Museum of Art is actually lucky enough to have a couple of pieces of his artwork. Ivan Durrell was born April 26, 1916, and died July 20th, year 2000. He was an American artist, author, and illustrator noted for his contribution to the background illustration and styling of Disney animated films, such as Sleeping Beauty. Much of his work can best be described with the term magic realism, an art movement that arose in the 1920s. It often encompassed exquisite detail and unusual perspective to convey the wonder of everyday life. This piece, titled Arroyo, depicts a hillside with dark-colored shrubs and trees that are dimly lit by a light source originating from the upper right corner. It is also a prime example of the project that we're going to be doing today. All you'll be needing for today's project is paper, a pencil, an eraser, and a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, any straight edge will do. Now, to get started, the first thing we're going to want to do is have our paper horizontal or with the long edge towards yourself. This is also known as landscape. The first thing we want to do is actually find the center of our paper. Now, to do that, we're going to take our ruler or straight edge, and we're actually going to draw a line from each corner diagonally. Just do that lightly. If it's not exactly the corner, that's okay. And there we go. And we can go ahead and put a dot right there, just to remind us of where we're going to be making our lines from. Okay, so once we have the center of our paper, the next thing that we'll want to do is actually draw a line straight across the width of our entire paper. We want to make sure that this is just as evenly as possible. We want to make sure that there's about half of the paper on top and about half of the paper on bottom. And this line can be a little bit darker. Go ahead and apply a little bit of pressure to that. Now, as you can see, I've actually taped my paper down to assist me when making the video, but you don't have to do that. If it does help you, that's great. You can go ahead and do that, but you don't have to. Now, before we go further, I want to point out a couple of things. This dot right here is our vanishing point, and the vanishing point is the spot on the horizon line to which we're going to draw most of our lines coming towards us. It's what's going to allow our drawing to look three-dimensional. And this horizontal line is our horizon line. The horizon line is a line that runs across the paper to represent the viewer's eye level or delineate where the sky meets the ground. Okay, now that we have our vanishing point in our horizon line, the next thing we want to do is think about what we're going to draw. Now, the easiest thing to do is to do a little scene. And imagine that you're in the middle of a road. So let's say that these two lines that we've already done are the edges of a road. What I want you to do is go ahead and darken those up real quick. Now we have our road edges. Now the next thing we can do is, let's imagine that there are the lines in the road. Now to do that, what we're going to be doing is drawing a straight line from our vanishing point towards us. We're just going to lightly draw another line coming towards us on this side, and another line coming towards us on the other side. You want them to be about even on both spaces. There we go. Okay, so does your paper look like this, or maybe close to it? Great. If it doesn't, that's okay. This is just practice. You can always erase, you can always make new lines. So what we have right now are the edges of our road and the beginning of the lines for our street marks coming towards us. Now to do that, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take our ruler and we're going to be making some horizontal parallel lines. We want these to just be as straight as possible, and we want to just do them every so often. Kind of like you're making a big pyramid. Okay, now that we have these in place, I want you to go and make another line right underneath those lines that you just made. Just put a little bit of space in between them. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. If this is your first time doing a perspective drawing, it can be a little bit tedious, but it pays off in the end. There we go. Now that we have these two sets of parallel lines going down, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and erase the little vertical lines in between our street markings. As you can see, these lines in the street are getting smaller as they're getting away from us towards that vanishing point. And we have the beginnings of a road. So now that we have our road underway, now this may not look like any road that you've ever seen, but that's okay because we're doing some magic realism. It doesn't have to be super realistic. Let's think about where is our road going. To add a little bit more detail, I like to think that my road is maybe going into a tunnel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little arch just right over here. And I'm going to go ahead and shade that in. And I think that this arch is actually going to be part of a mountain. And so I'm just going to put some wavy lines to depict a mountain. Maybe another one back here. Maybe another little hill right here. And you know what? Maybe it's sunset. I think I'm going to make another curved line back here. And our sun will be setting. And make sure and do some sunny rays. And there. So any excess lines that you don't need, you can just go ahead and just lightly erase those. Like I'm going to erase these little diagonal lines that we made earlier. Maybe you want to add some more shading to make it look like this mountain is maybe a little bit farther back. Maybe you want to put some clouds up there. So now we have kind of this, I'll put one more hill right there. That looks nice. So now we have this road going into this tunnel through these mountains, and this is kind of a very introductory step into a one-point perspective drawing. So, what do you think? Pretty easy, right? I hope you had fun. Now this was actually just kind of an introduction to one-point perspective drawing. In our next video, we're actually going to get a bit more in-depth with the details and level of difficulty, so I really hope you join me again next time. Thank you again for joining us for an art lesson with the Bakersfield Museum of Art, and have a great day.